Hey guys, welcome back. Today I am reviewing my double IPA, aka Please Don't Light Me on Fire. And yeah, I just put it on tap this weekend. I've got a floating dip tube in there, so it's not going to be just a big old glass of yeast, which is great. And let's give her a pour. Okay guys, it is day 3 of fermentation on this double IPA, and I'm gonna go ahead and dry hop so I don't have to worry about oxygen in the beer because the CO2 is scrubbing the oxygen right now because it's still super active. Okay, so let's do it. So our dry hop is 1/2 ounce of Centennial, Columbus, and Galaxy. So what I do when I dry hop is I sanitize like my container, I sanitize my bag, and that's about it. But just make sure there's nothing living on your vessels you're using. So Galaxy. Columbus, and this is 1/2 ounce already measured. I'm gonna tie my bag so it doesn't escape. Okay, so we're at High Krausen, and here we go. That's it. That's the whole shebang. Make sure to re-sanitize your lid when you put it back on. The seal in mine is being weird, but hopefully this fixes it. All right, let's see if we can get some bubbles. So I'm gonna have to replace the seal to this because I haven't seen any bubble activity. I'm not worried about it yet because the yeast is still so active, but I have an extra seal for this guy because this is an older one. But it looks like the lid isn't lining up right for the base. So I don't know, apparently these lids are a little weird anyway, so I'm just gonna try my other seal. Quick update, it looks like the seal totally worked. The bubbles are getting started. Looky there. That color is so amazing. I'm obsessed. So I don't know if you can see it, but it is basically orange juice. It's like honestly the color of a carrot. I love it. Love, 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 love. It's a beautiful beer. I'm so pleased with the color. I'm so pleased with the head retention, and I'm just real proud of myself. So if you didn't watch my previous video about how to brew this beer, I'll give you a quick rundown. So the main malt is 2-row, then we have white wheat, some Pilsner, sugar, caramel 10, caramel 60, and some Munich. And did I mention sugar? The hops are Cascade, Centennial, Columbus, and Galaxy, and we use the Omega Vosk Kvike yeast. It's a pretty standard double IPA. It's 9.1%. It's got nice head retention thanks to the white wheat. If you can see, it's like a beautiful light cream head with very, very small bubbles. It almost looks like cream. The color, which I don't know if you can get a great idea of, but I'll try to shine my flashlight on it. The color's beautiful. It's like a ambery orange. It's almost like a carrot orange color, which I absolutely adore. And you might notice that there's a slight haze. So I actually did use a floating dip tube for this one, but what I did with my dry hop is I actually added my dry hops in about 3 days after I started fermenting. So when you add the hops that early, they actually biotransform with the yeast. I actually only did it because I wanted to minimize the amount of oxygen that was in the beer when I add the dry hops, because, you know, when you add hops in general, like when they're pelletized, they're going to oxidate a little bit. So you really want to minimize the oxygen when you are physically dry hopping it as well. So it'll give you a haze. It's a hop haze actually versus a yeast haze. So there's actually very, very little yeast in this. It's all the hops. And that's what gives you the beautiful orange color. And when you're making a hazy IPA, actually that's why people recommend that you add your dry hops in early. Now let's get on to the aroma. I actually, in front of me, have a flavor wheel. Thank you for suggesting it. I really appreciate it. There's a lot of terms on here I would have never pulled out of my head. So for the scent, it's pretty citrusy. I'm getting like a grapefruit rind. It's pretty light, pretty floral. They say geraniol is I guess it's an ester that makes a floral smell. It almost smells like a little bit like smelling a rose, which I know that is actually, it reminds me a little bit of my rosewater lemon ghost scent, but not in a bad way. I'm not marking it down because of that. I think the Kveik yeast is supposed to ferment very cleanly, but I think that is an ester I got off of this yeast. So it's interesting to me. It might be because it was such a high alcohol beer that the yeast was a little bit stressed. It's a little spicy, but I think everything's spicy. So whatever that is, I pick it up no matter what it is. And I'm almost getting a little bit of orange now. Opening up a fresh orange and like smelling it. It actually smells really good. Now that it's heating up, it actually smells pretty nice. Yeah, I'm a big fan now. All right, so we did head, we did body. The body is relatively thick. I don't know if there's legs on this so much as, I mean, the lacing's pretty nice if you can see that. I'm almost getting a strawberry. I grew up in Florida, so one of my favorite things to do in the wintertime was actually go strawberry picking. And it just kind of tastes like a slightly underripe strawberry, so really, really tart, but it's just a hint of that. It's just an essence, kind of. There's definite bitterness. I mean, the IBU on this is over 100. I think it's 112. So bitterness is expected. I'm getting the kind of mouth drying from the hops that I get from, like, say, an Arrogant Bastard. Arrogant Bastard, I actually stopped drinking because it dried my mouth out so much. So I actually just read that one of the mouthfeels that you can have is drying. So that's a legit thing, apparently. It's a pretty, it's like a medium thick beer. I wouldn't call it like syrupy or anything at all. I think I would like to have it aged a little bit more. I did kind of jump the gun, but I would like for the hops to mellow out a bit. So if you did make it, I strongly suggest doing the 1 month of waiting. It really changes and you wouldn't expect it. But after this, I'm gonna pull this keg and then maybe I'll come back in a month and give another review of it. But I do this every time because I always want to drink the beer, and you know, patience is a virtue. I almost got some black cherry, but fresh black cherry right here. I feel like the more I describe this beer, actually, the more I like it, because I tested it just to make sure it was pouring right, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I like this, but now that I'm talking about it and it's warming up, I think this is also a beer that benefits from warming up a little bit, so you can get all of the fruity flavors. Because, I mean, I served this to someone over the weekend. Actually, I served it to a couple people over the weekend, and they were like, this is super juicy. And I'm like,
I like a juicy IPA that almost tastes nothing like hops. I like beer that tastes like candy for some reason sometimes. And I don't like super, 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 super hoppy beers. So for someone who does like hoppy beers to say that it tastes super juicy, I think it just kind of shows your preference on hops. Because I don't know, I think I just ruined my palate by drinking so many heavy hoppy IPAs because, you know, that was the cool thing to drink or whatever. And now I'm just like, I just want to enjoy my beer and have it to be sweet and delicious. Yeah, this beer really gets better as you drink it. Have you guys ever heard that you're always supposed to give sours like 2 tastes? Because the first time it's such a shock to your system that you can't actually taste it, and then you have to take another taste to like fully appreciate it. When the first sours I ever had was at Cascade, and I went for Zwiegelfest or Zweigel Fight, whatever, the festival in Portland that's actually going on right now. Well, it was or is soon or something. But I actually went with my dad. I took my dad to a sour brewery, and yeah, he's totally a Budweiser guy. But he will never drink a sour again. Does like my Pilsner, but won't drink a sour. But yeah, I thought that was really interesting, and every time I've like tested it and tried it, it's totally true. And I feel like when you get into the hoppier beers like this, you kind of experience the same thing. Because like the more I drink it, the more flavors I can pull out. And yeah. So overall, I think this is a great beer. I'm just so impressed by the color more than anything. It's rare that I get a color like this. You know, I think the biotransformation with the hops is really like something special. And I think like more people should actually do it because like it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous, and I always use like a lot of caramel malts, and they can get muddy, and you don't want muddy. You want beautiful. And just the fact that it's a hazy that's not like, it doesn't look like milk, basically, or mud or anything. It's like I don't want to be drinking a smoothie when I'm drinking a beer. I did have a freaking great, though, blueberry vanilla bean smoothie like sour the other day that was, oh my god. Jenny makes a blueberry sour cream pie. It tasted exactly like that. It was wild. I have no idea who made it. I need to like reach out to the Bottle Share group. But yeah, I hope you guys get to make this beer.